Today we're going to talk about the New Jersey Marathon, which is coming sooner than you think. I'd like to welcome Hilary Biggs, who is the event director for the New Jersey Marathon, which, even though it's not even winter yet, and we're talking about a spring event, it's going to be here soon.
Feels like it's coming up tomorrow.
You have that much to do already.
We have a lot to do. Yeah, a lot of moving parts.
What are some of them?
Right now, really, we are focused on registration, getting people aware about the date of the event. You know,
Which
people
is?
is April 29th, Sunday, April 29th. Marathoners often run a fall marathon and then a spring marathon. People have just finished their fall marathon and they're thinking, what's my next race?
Okay, I'll ask
we're
you.
hoping to
I
be.
mean, I can answer it because I run it most years.
Yeah.
Why should they pick the New Jersey Marathon or half marathon as their spring event?
Beautiful course, beautiful, flat, fast course. It's a race that's we're in our 22nd year. It brings you out to the shore. It's very scenic. We can guarantee we'll take it easy on your legs.
13 or 26 miles will take it easy on your legs. That's a runner talking.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. But still, I think the greatest hill is a bridge. So
Probably the bridge from Oceanport into Long Branch.
Exactly. Yep.
You work for a company that owns the race. Now, we're past the point where races with 8,500 people, which between the half and the whole, will have that Sunday in town. Those kind of races aren't small operations.
You're absolutely right. I have a great team that I work with. We work very closely with the Long Branch Police Department, as well as all the police departments in 8 different towns, to make sure that our runners are safe, that the course is ready. We have a marketing team out there trying to get people aware of the race.
Working now, 4 or 5 months.
Yep. I have a person who's in charge of our registration and all the data that is behind the scenes. So those logistics, we were talking earlier just about one block that might be under construction, right? We're working through that.
That could change everything.
That could change everything, and we're talking through that now. Those are all the important things.
And this will go on probably up until, I think by the Saturday before the event, we'll be done with most of the logistical work, we hope.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, sometimes it's even little tweaks, even on the weekend before. But really, it's as you know, it'd be as small a thing as a big pothole. Right. Surfaces or something. We take care of that. We're aware of all those details.
Your company is Pacers.
Pacers Events.
Pacers Events. And they're centered in Virginia.
Yep, Northern Virginia and Washington, D.C. They have a large event business down there, 12 months out of the year. I think Pacers owns 18 races down there, and then is contracted out for maybe double that, managing other races in that region. And then we are that satellite office here in New Jersey. Our biggest project in New Jersey is the New Jersey Marathon.
How did they come to find it? Because, it was started by a small group of people. They split off from one running group to run the race themselves, and then sold it to a company from Chicago, and then there were these guys from Texas, and one day there was Lifeline, which is a big outfit, and then...
Right, it went from a super big outfit.
Right.
I think somebody at Lifetime reached out to our CEO. I think it started with a conversation. Would you be interested in, acquiring a marathon, which is a distance Pacers didn't have at the time. And I think they were eager to step up to that challenge. And I think that's where it all started 3 years ago.
Was the first year you owned it was the year it poured?
Poured rain. I think it was not just rain.
It was cold.
It was cold. I think it was sleet, and it was the duration of the race.
Right, and all these great plans to have this wonderful post-race event, nobody stayed as soon as they finished.
Yeah, I think that's a tough thing to ask someone who has run for 5 hours in the rain to swap out their soaking wet clothes and then to stand
in soaking wet. I remember coming down. That's the
Still, people do, but we understand that that's not ideal.
But this past year, we had
it was
I
a
ran
beautiful
the half.
day. Yep.
We had a really nice day, and a fun post-race event too.
Yep. That's one of the things we're hoping to improve on this year, is to sort of enhance that post-race festival feeling. And that will mean a couple of different things. It'll mean more live music. It will mean, I hope, a beer garden, maybe in Rooney's parking lot, something where we might be able to give a compliment.
Do runners want beer after?
They do. Have you ever? I think that's more common a thing than almost anything else
now. But food.
Oh yeah, plenty of food. Music.
Other people.
Award ceremonies. We'll have places for groups to gather. Charities that have just run the race, they will have places to gather. Food trucks.
A
that
chance
kind of thing.
for Long Branch to show off.
Yeah, show off Long Branch, right? Absolutely.
It's really, for us, it's one of the first major outdoor events of the season.
Yep.
Because it's, it can be chilly on the ocean front in April. It can be chilly on the ocean front in June. But we've had these beautiful days. There's as many as 20,000 people out there.
Yep.
And it's one of the reasons, there's an economic impact of these races.
For sure. If I go to a race, if I'm a runner, you're a runner, I show up with my team, my family, my friends. Some of them are running with you.
They don't want me to wake them up in the morning.
No, they don't. Not anymore. They're done with that.
Yes.
That's true too, in a way. But yes, so all those, you have these groups coming. It's not just the runner showing up that day and enjoying the event. The spectators, we're doing stuff for them too.
How many, last year we were about 8,500 between the half.
Exactly, yep.
And you anticipate that again, or maybe?
Yep, we're hoping for that 10,000 number this year.
What do you do to promote it?
Well, this year specifically, we rebranded the event. We rebranded, built a new website, tried to bring it back to sort of a authentic New Jersey look and feel. We're bringing people out to the shore, out to Long Branch, but we want everything to resonate with New Jersey. We're hoping that New Jersey and even those beyond it will sort of embrace this as the biggest event in New Jersey.
Is it? I don't think there's a bigger marathon.
There isn't a bigger marathon. Nope. Yeah.
And I think one thing I want people to understand: events like this, they don't just happen. It's not an accident. People plan it for. You started planning shortly after the last one.
We met with the Long Branch Police Department a month after the race, and we were talking about this coming year.
And there's a lot of competition too for that entry fee dollar.
Yep.
I know that some of the half marathons that were competing have disappeared. The spring half marathons, which is
it's a congested market, I guess.
Yeah.
So, as you know yourself, you could run 30 races in this area alone, or 10 races, you said, and never leave Long Branch, right? So then multiply it by all these different towns all the way through New Jersey. But we do believe that, it has a rich history. We have very, very loyal runners, people who come back year after year, and we want to sort of give them the same story to tell, but sort of improve on it. We want to deliver that great race to them that they've experienced before, but this time, what we got to do? X, Y, Z.
Your race is centered, our race really, because it's
Exactly.
I feel a little bit of ownership of it.
You should, yeah.
But it's not really centered in any one town. Without Monmouth Park as a staging area, it would be hard.
Yeah. No, they kick us off, right? They're our start.
And it's a great place to start.
Absolutely.
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 Plenty of parking.
Yep. This year, parking's included in that registration fee. That's something new this year. It's a small thing, but,
Right.
you know, a little bit, an important
That is a
thing,
nice
yeah.
thing. But there's the staging area, you know, for almost 10,000 runners in the corrals. That's a big deal.
Yep.
And
We
they do it
start
very well.
building it 3 days in advance of the Sunday start. A whole team of people come out from all over the place with all kinds of equipment. Yep. There's a lot of things that we hope that the runner never has to worry about, but we are working on, like you said, all year round.
Now, the Runner Expo is not going to be there this year, or is it?
It is going to be there.
Oh, it is
this
going to
year,
be at
yeah.
Monmouth, so.
That's actually new news for us. We're going to return to the racetrack this year.
So I want to
we
pick up
were
my-
exploring other options just to see what's out there, but it makes the most sense for us to be back at the track.
And then, just to give people an idea, you run through Oceanport.
Yep.
You come in a Long Branch.
Yep.
You
Go
make a left.
south.
I go
yeah,
back. I'm only running 13 miles. That's
Yeah.
plenty for me. But you got to coordinate with Deal and Asbury and Neptune.
Ocean Grove, yep.
which is Neptune. And then-
Allenhurst, Lock Arbor.
And you just touch in. Do I remember right? You touch into Bradley Beach.
No, I think Ocean Grove is as far as
South as you go.
Yep.
And then those.
So we
people-
just kind of run through that town, turn around, and just head north.
Are they always happy to see you guys?
We have great relationships with all these towns. They really are. You know, they're almost more familiar with it than I am. They've been, you know, the race has been here longer than I have been. So in some ways, they're telling us, you know, remember, this is how it works. So.
Well, I can remember now the course, and we're not joking. We may have to reroute for one block,
Yep.
but that changes a lot. Hopefully, we're going to be fine by then. But there have been years there have been bridges out. You know, Art Castellano started this race. You can laugh at this. I remember when he came up to me and said, "I'm restarting the Jersey Shore Marathon." We were in Food Town. I looked at him and said, "Oh, I'm going to have to get in shape again."
Right.
And
Yeah.
but 26 miles is a little daunting. 13 works really well.
So you could probably share with me about just you mentioning the construction on the one block of the board down, I guess, Pier Village.
Pier
But
Village, yeah.
The boardwalk, I mean, has been rebuilt, and
Yes.
and that is part of the recent history.
It's after the storm, and it took us about 2 years to get it done. But one of the really nice things was the year after Sandy. You know, we were that winter from the storm, and the race was, you know, still late April. We had just gotten stairs done down to the beach. You know, the boardwalk was still all blocked off, but people were, you know, all of a sudden you have 8,000 people saying, "Oh, you're going to be open for the summer."
Yeah.
And that marketing, part of the reason you do a race is marketing. And
Yep.
it brings people into your
Show
town.
off
and you
your
get to
town,
Yes. And there were people who didn't realize Pier Village was open again after the storm. And there it was, and the restaurants were open, and people started to come in again. It made a difference.
Yeah.
And I'm always trying to tell people, you know, the economic impact of an event is a big deal. Of this event, it's a big deal.
And it kicks off that season, we think.
It's the first outdoor, got to put on sunblock. You're going to be outside
Yeah.
all day. And so
right.
we look forward to it. All right,
That's
we're
right.
going to take a break, and we'll
Oh.
be back for the second half.
Your seat cushion can be used to grant wishes.
Who said that? Hello?
Really can, you know.
You talking to me?
Sure am. Because the airline miles you earn and donate to Make-A-Wish can help send thousands of kids on their wish trips. So donate to Make-A-Wish today.
You really should, you know. You really should.
And give wishes wings, because wishes work wonders.
Back for the second half of the show. So we were talking the economic impact of. We've had years where we've had as many 10,000 runners, but yours, you know, people come into town. They travel from quite a distance to run a marathon,
Yep.
and they spend money.
Yep. We partner with a number of hotels. You know, we work with restaurants as best we can to promote that the runners are going to be coming into town and all of that. Yep.
And and Lawn Branch and, probably more Asbury and us, we get to show off. We have places to eat and stay.
Yep.
Other towns are a little smaller and a little quieter. But I know that on the Friday, Saturday before the race, it's tough to get into a restaurant in Long Branch.
Yep.
And after a long, cold winter, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
I'm fair for me to assume they're kind of happy with the race and the way things are progressing?
So this will be our third year with our hands on it. The first year we really shadowed Lifetime. They put on a very well-organized event. They certainly know what they're doing. So we inherited a very good, logistically sound race from them. And they really were very open about how things worked and relationships that they had here. As you know, I met you with my colleague at Lifetime. And then the second year, last year, we wanted to just make sure nothing changed, that we delivered the same product, that we met that expectation with the runner, that everybody was safe, that everyone had a good course to run on, they had a good experience, their family was able to enjoy it. And this year, we want to do the same thing, but just improve the experience. Make it more of a Pacers feeling event. But again, make sure that it is authentic and genuine to New Jersey.
Now you say a Pacers feel event. They put on 20 races.
Yep.
And I assume that means, you know exactly what you're doing and what a runner's looking for. What does that mean to you?
Well, it's a family-owned business. They are connected to all runners and every kind of runner.
And on running stores.
Yep, and own running stores in D.C. and Virginia and one in Princeton, New Jersey. But they're very proud, we are very proud of that connection to every kind of runner and how we can support the elite runner, but equally...
Or a guy like me.
Right, or a guy like you.
I have won some age group. I told my wife some 30 plus years ago, I'm not winning an age group prize till after I turn 60.
Right.
And I've snagged a couple. Still got to be a smaller race, but I've got a couple at home now. It's a big deal to me when I win.
So what is your favorite race you've run?
Ever?
Yeah.
I ran one marathon, and I still have the T-shirt from 1980.
Yeah, that's the best.
I don't know that that's my favorite because it was incredibly painful.
Yeah.
I can remember 19 miles.
Maybe most memorable.
Absolutely. But actually, my favorite was for a couple of years, I was a really avid triathlete. I'm a much better cyclist than anything else. And I ran the Lake Placid half. And it was the first time I did it, I just had a bit. Same thing, you're going up a hill and you just die and you got 13 miles to run. That was tough. So I spent the whole next year training for it. It rained and the temperature dropped to 45 degrees that night, and I took 45 minutes off my time.
Oh, look at that.
That was my favorite race ever.
Bad.
And
Right? Yeah.
and I have to go back and do one more triathlon because I've never won an age group prize. And that might have to wait till I hit 70.
It's still
But
there. It's
for
still
me,
there.
and I think for a lot of runners, I'm in the back of the pack. If I break 10 minutes a mile, I'm really excited these days. It's just being out there on a morning before work, getting fresh air and doing something and having fun.
Yep. Getting outside.
I'm not an indoor gym guy.
Yeah.
I don't belong to a gym. I belong to a pool. But being outside is just, I don't care about the weather. I like being outside.
Yep. And you're inspiring people around you to do the same thing. We were talking about that. Yeah.
I think one of the reasons a town can justify, because actually the race, the way it's configured now, the course, you can move around town during the race. It's not perfect, but you can move around. We used to have a loop. And if you were caught inside that loop, you might be there all day.
It was 2 loops. That's right.
2 loops for a marathon, and people
And if
got
you're in
cranky.
that loop, you're in that loop.
Right. But if you're watching people run who are just pretty ordinary looking people, who are not athletic Superman type, you're like, I can do that. I can get off my couch and move.
Yep. To this day, I feel the same way. And anyone standing on on the sideline, cheering on just remarkable people, persisting and you know, having done all this work, working towards a goal, achieving that goal right before your eyes. I think it's inspirational. Yeah.
Do you ever just spectate at a race?
I definitely have. My husband is a runner, and I've cheered him on many times. So.
I went and saw
Yeah.
my niece run the New York Marathon, and I've watched a couple other
Right,
friends
that
run
is
it.
something.
And I've never wanted to run New York. It's just too big for me. You know,
Yeah.
being part of 50,000 people doesn't do
Right.
it for me. But watching it happen, and just one after the other, and that many people,
All
it's,
shapes and sizes,
Yep.
young, old, everything.
And in person, when you're seeing, for an hour, you know, we went to a spot, I think it was 105th Street, and we were there for about an hour, and my sister, who's normally, I wouldn't say Becky's quiet, banging on, I've got a picture of her, she's got a wooden spoon and a pot, she's just making noise for an hour.
Yeah.
My sister, the federal prosecutor, out there, and it was
Right?
just great to
Yeah,
watch.
I completely agree.
And we're starting, you know, it's a lot of fun when you're out there running and you know there's spots. I've run this course most years we've had,
Anticipating when they're going
when
to be
there's
there.
gonna be a
Yeah.
crowd.
Yeah.
and people run it like it was the hot year.
Yeah.
You know, 2010, it hit almost 90 degrees out there. And there was a guy next to me who was faster than me, dressed like Elvis, and another guy in a furry
Right.
coat. You know, I'm like, these guys must be ready to kill
Right.
over.
I think I ran with Kermit the Frog one year down in D.C. I think I beat him finally, but he was beating me for a long time.
Yeah, I ran. There are people with different race strategies.
Right.
Like the Jeff Galloway, I'm going to walk a lot, and they keep passing you.
Yeah.
I had a race last week where this couple were doing it, and they'd signal, and finally at about 11. No, it wasn't 11. It was a 9-mile race. So at about 8 miles, they said, Jeff Galloway. They said, yeah. I said, well, it works for you.
Yeah, right. To each his own. Right.
But being out there is just a great feeling.
Absolutely. And so we hope we're inspiring this entire community, you know.
And making it feel like a community
Yeah.
event.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. We rely on, we have 1,300 volunteers, almost entirely from this community, right?
Absolutely.
And
some of them every year since the
every
race
year.
started.
And again, I've said this a few times, that they know more than I do. They've been with this race longer than I have.
Now, you couldn't possibly put this race on entry fees alone. Who are your sponsors?
So we have a very generous title sponsor, Novo Nordisk.
A New Jersey company.
A New Jersey company. They're just down the street from Princeton in Plainsboro, New Jersey. They started out as an expo sponsor, and the next year decided to become title sponsor. We are so pleased to work with them. They
Title, it's the Novo Nordisk.
Novo Nordisk.
New Jersey
Marathon, half marathon, yep. We are also working, another long-standing local partner is RWJ Barnabas Health and Monmouth Medical
Center.
They are out there, they have a water station. They are out there every single year handing out water, cheering on runners.
Is the president of the system going to come hold the finisher
I
tape?
hope so, yeah.
They've done that
Yeah,
before.
and I think, yeah, there are enough finishers that we're able to accommodate all the partners. So that's nice. So they come out. And we have a new partner this year, Diadora, which is an Italian shoe manufacturer.
So every runner gets a free pair of shoes?
We haven't quite gotten them to say yes to that, but I've been wearing my Diadoras.
They're good shoes?
And maybe I'll convince you to wear some. They're great shoes, yep. And so you'll see all the runners will be getting a Diadora shirt.
It'll say, so the official shirt
Official
will be
apparel, yep, of the race. So these are our primary partners, and yes, you're right, we couldn't do what we're doing without their support, for sure.
But a race, an event like this that attracts, you know, every runner comes, probably on the average, he's got 1 or 2 people with him. At least if you need the person who's going to drive you home if you're going to have 2 beers after you run a race.
Right, that's right.
That's a lot of people that you can communicate with through this event.
Yep. And
If you were, what pitch do you give to a potential sponsor? Because I would assume you're not done necessarily looking for sponsors.
No, we're not. You're right. It's a unique and intimate way to connect to a runner and their families in New Jersey. We are entrenched in this community and in running throughout New Jersey. So both in this community, but through running specialty stores throughout New Jersey.
You're also, we hadn't even talked about this when we're getting closer to the end. The Saturday, the day before the event, you're going to have events for people to
That's
participate
right. We call it actually our W.J. Barnabas Health sponsors that day, and it's the family day. And it starts at 9 o'clock in the morning with a 5K, followed by 4 kids race distances, and from 9 to 12 o'clock that day, we'll have sort of a festival around those races.
Right in Long Branch.
Right on the Great Lawn.
So people who run the 5K will cross the finish line for...
They'll actually cross the same finish line that the marathoners will finish the next day.
Do you get people who sign up to do the 5K
Both,
and then
yeah.
run the next day too?
Yep. So we're trying to work out some sort of special reward for those double runners this year.
You had some thought maybe you'd do a 10K, but the 5K is...
I think that's ahead of us, maybe next year.
Okay.
We're still looking at that.
The 5K is a distance almost any...
Yeah.
I mean, if you're
it's
saying...
very accessible to
Right.
lots of different runners. Yep.
Right. So if you haven't run, if you don't run at all, and you wanted to run a 5K by the end of April, it's very doable.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's kind of what we want to do. We want to encourage people
Yep.
to do things like
And
that.
those kids races, I challenge you to find something more cute and just inspiring than these little kids running a 50-yard dash like their life depends on
And what
it.
do they get when they finish?
So they get a T-shirt and a medal. Yep.
Oh, that's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
not too
Well, thank
bad.
you very much
Thank
for
you
coming
very
over,
much.
and I'm sure I'll
Thank you,
see you
Mayor.
before the race.
Pleasure.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thanks for having me.